I'm going to break my own rule here. Congressman Oxley, you were actually quoted. I saw a quote in either The Economist or the Wall Street Journal where you said there are things we would have done different, or we would have written it differently, or something along those lines. There's no context to that statement. It's not 100% sure what you meant. And so I'd be curious if you would take this opportunity to tell us what you meant.
Well, what I really meant was that that question almost assuredly indicates that the questioner doesn't understand the legislative process. And I mean, I swear some people think that Paul and I were sitting around having a drink one night and decided just to put this bill together. What are you laughing at, Steve? You know better, right? But in fact, it was an 8-month process. It involved four committees, 2 in the Senate, 2 in the House, Judiciary Committee, as well as the Senate Banking Committee, the Judiciary Committee of the House, and the Financial Services Committee. Numerous hearings, markups, contentious issues, votes on the floor. So a piece of legislation isn't just created. It is hammered out over a period of time with all kinds of different opinions and testimony and the like. And so my comment was, well, of course, if I could write the bill by myself, particularly in retrospect, I would have written a perfect bill. And Paul probably would say the same thing, but of course that isn't how it works.
You'd say you'd write a perfect bill also.
Yeah, that's right. But I think that's the key to the legislative process, the give and take. We had our first hearing on Enron in December of '01, and the President signed the bill on July 30th. So it was an 8-month process. And I know Paul's committee and mine were almost singularly involved in that issue during that period of time, to the ignoring some other issues, because it was such, as I indicated, such a hot political issue that our constituents were very much demanding that we have a national response, as Harvey said. As chairman of the committee, it was almost dangerous for me to go on the floor. Look at Bill Gradison back who knows what I'm talking about, because I would be literally besieged by my colleagues who had just come back from their districts, who were hearing it from virtually everybody back home about the need for the congressional response, because that's all they were seeing and hearing on television and reading in the newspapers about these horror stories of people who had lost their life savings. And by the way, while I'm at it, I think that the reason that we had this incredible response, this white-hot political response, or this fervor we had out in the country, was that in the last 30 years we've changed from a nation of savers to a nation of investors. And so we've democratized investors. People who work on the line today, it's not just the elite that own stock, because we've got 401ks, we have IRAs, and those people, and 95 million Americans own mutual funds, those people intuitively understood that that was their money, and that was their investment. And they wanted to tell their congressman that they were quite upset and they wanted to do something about it.